Welcome back to Total Disclosure live on YouTube, where we explore the mysteries of the unknown. From sightings to conspiracy theories, we dive deep into the unexplained occurrences in our skies. Speaking of which, I think I just saw something pretty weird in the sky. We'll talk about that later. But if you're passionate about exploring the unknown and intrigued by the possibility of extraterrestrial life, then don't leave. You're in the right place. Don't forget to hit that like button, share the show across social media with your friends, your family, enemies, the Greys, the Nordics. I just totally blanked on the other ones, but you know the ones. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with our latest videos. Let's explore the unknown together. Today I'm joined by Love His Perspective, Dusty making his return to Total Disclosure, Cortex Zero as always, and Astral. What's going on, gentlemen?
Been good.
Excellent,
Good?
excellent. And while we're starting, I just want to give a quick shout out to 3 people that I got to watch the show tonight. 3 of my in real life friends, Jen, Brandon, and his girlfriend Samantha. Thank you for taking the time to watch the show tonight. I appreciate it. And I'm also live right now. As easy as this is on my channel, I got people in my chat. Like,
It's
this
actually
is awesome,
showing,
dude.
Yeah, it's showing me that. So StreamYard, which we use for distribution, it's showing. So it has this new feature where guests can upload the show to their own destination, whether it's Twitter, whether that's YouTube. So it's showing me that it's on both of your channels, which is kind of cool.
Very cool. This is an experiment. And shout out to the people in my chat right now, some longtime viewers of my channel. Lily, I see in there, like one of my longtime moderators. So happy to see those people there, like on short notice out of nowhere.
And we got a lot to talk about, guys.
Oh, this is gonna be a good one.
We have a lot to discuss. Now, I'm sure everybody knows. We're going to start it off with confirmation of the UAP hearings on April 19th, which are going to be led by Senator Gillibrand. So Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick of AARO, he is the director of the AARO office. He will be testifying in front of Congress, like I said, being led by Gillibrand. And this was confirmed yesterday for 11 a.m. on April 19th. Now, I want to go around the horn. I mean, do you think this is a lot of people are thinking that, they're going to start talking about reverse engineering programs, legacy programs. They're going to blow the hay off of it. But I mean, we have to remember the first hearing, which was a whole lot of nothing.
That's true.
So I do want to ask you guys the question. Do you think that we're going to get further in this conversation with these hearings, this second hearing now in less than, 2 or 3 years? Or do you think it's going to be more of the national security issue, the balloons and the more mundane explanations that they like to use?
Do you think we should go in order so we can go Love, Dusty, Astral, and then me?
Yeah, sure. Love, you're up first, brother.
All right. Okay, well, I actually haven't heard about this hearing that's happening. So, like, what's going on in that area?
Well, okay, I'll tell you. So again, people have been clamoring for more hearings. This has been a widely talked about topic. They wanted more hearings. They wanted more transparency from the government. They wanted more details in these legacy programs, especially with the language in the 2023 NDAA, which included protection language for people that may have been in classified, when they have top secret clearances and stuff that they can't really speak about to like media outlets. Well, there's protection now so that no repercussions can be taken against you. So say you worked in a reverse engineering program, right? You were sworn to secrecy, and this is 20 years ago. And, now the program's ended. You're back in the civilian sector, and you think the public has a right to know. Now, this language protects you from them persecuting you and putting you in jail for violating that secret clearance. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, no, definitely.
Okay. Now, do you think this is a good thing, a bad thing, or meh?
Honestly, okay, so if people want more transparency and things from the government, then I strongly believe that like it's not I wouldn't say a bad thing, because if people are really trying to push that stuff out there a lot more than what people actually want, I think it would be a great thing. Unless what the government technically does is just tries to cover up as much as they can before they can actually release anything to the public that is confidential evidence towards the people who actually want that transparency to happen. But I hope that they would just come out with things. But knowing the government, they're probably never going to do that. That's my opinion.
I agree. Well, I would agree to a certain degree, I should say. But I mean, this is coming from you, right? And you practice your CE5 and stuff like that. So there are people in that community, like even say Astral, who not necessarily think, maybe you guys think that the government and all this shit is a waste of time, right? Because you already have some sort of confirmation of your own. So you think all the nuts and bolts stuff, like getting confirmation, isn't really on your top priority list.
Yeah, because we already basically have it. We already have that confirmation.
Right. You have it. I don't.
But I mean, once you practice it, like it becomes something that like once you are aware and once they're aware of you, you never have to confirm again that they are actually there because they're there.
Right. And that's that level of confirmation that I personally want. Like, I want Mark's sighting to happen to me. I want to see a fucking black triangle right there,
Both of our sightings, right? He and I had
sitting
similar.
there. Yeah, I want that level of confirmation. And like, but do you see it from the perspective where I'm at, where I don't have that level and I'm searching for it?
Well,
Right,
it's steps too. You want to go. You don't want to go 0 to 100 with somebody who's just on the surface level and be like, "All right, come out with me for a CE5." There's certain entry points that a lot of people are coming into this at.
Right. And that's actually a really good point, because some people do need to be kind of, let's say, cradled, right? Because let's not joke about it. This is kind of a reality shattering topic. Now, for some people, this is a really, I mean, you're towing the line, right?
Yeah.
So if we were to take the rug and yank it out from everybody at once, that's where we get these mass panics, these chaoses, and potentially, collapsing of civilization.
Ontological shock, like Earl Grey had mentioned when we were speaking to him.
Yeah. So, I mean, Dusty, what do you think about these hearings? I mean, what do you want to get from them? What do you want to hear from Congress? What do you want to hear from the legislation?
I mean, I know what I'm gonna hear. It's gonna be a bunch of bullshit again. Like, they're not gonna fucking say anything. They're gonna say a bunch of shit without saying anything.
Well, the thing I like about this is it is being led by Senator Gillibrand, and she's been exposed to some pretty. I mean, she knows a lot of the information that a UFO researcher would know. So
she's the best person to be leading it. She's really is the best person. Yeah.
Agreed. She's going to be able to, because what I didn't like from the first hearing, the set of hearings, was I believe they even brought up, was it the Maelstrom? Which Air Force base were they talking about? Which case was it?
Ooh.
The one where they shut off the nukes.
Oh.
Was it Minot?
It might have been Minot.
Well, okay, whatever. One of them.
It was one of those.
So they specifically, one of the congressmen brings it up, and he's like, "Do you know about this case?" And Scott, was it Bray? Bray was like, "Oh, I've heard about it, but I haven't really seen any case files about it." So it's like, wait a second. So you've heard about this case, right? To some degree, you've heard about this case where 10 to 12 nuclear weapons were shut off in sequence and then turned back on. And you didn't think to look deeper into that?
Yeah, that's national
security.
Dishonest, right? I didn't even believe that when I heard it.
Yeah.
I thought they were lying. Honestly,
well, that's what I mean.
How could you be in that position and not know about that?
So, are we going to get more of the runaround like that? Or
I don't think so, though.
Because Gillibrand can ask all the questions she wants. It doesn't mean we're getting it.
But they're not going to answer.
He's not going to be under oath.
What do you mean?
Oh,
he's not going to be under oath. Is what people are sharing around. Is he's not actually going to be sworn in under oath. when
Oh,
answering
that's
the questions.
interesting.
I find that odd
Yeah.
Huh.
because
Th-
then
so-
you can lie without, like, I guess, official penalty of
Huh.
perjury.
I've heard that on a couple places, but I don't want to just confirm it. But yeah, that's kind of what people were saying. A little bit of frustration is that he's not going to be under oath.
Oh.
Now,
But one of the things though that I am interested to see if she digs in on is less about the evidence. I don't think we're going to get anything new in terms of like evidence or like non-human intelligence or something. But I do want to get more of an idea of what AARO has been doing. Like, what has that office been doing over the past year and a half,
Yeah.
and why haven't been they've been more transparent? And what are their plans going forward? You know, there's a lot of like funding, I think, questions about do they need more funding? Well, what have you been doing with the funding already? I think if she can really dig into that, we can get a little bit more information
Wait,
about
hold
what's
on.
going
What
on.
is this company? I'm not familiar with that.
Arrow is the all domain anomaly resolution office. So that is the what that's what the ATIP, OSAP, ATIP, UAP task force. Now it's Arrow. So it's kind of like a
It's the official
generation.
reporting office. So all of the official reports by military pilots and really aviation as well are going to filter through this.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
It's very new.
I want to know if they're going to bring up. Well, I mean, do you think they'll bring up anything about the shoot downs, or is that too new? Do you think?
I think Gillibrand, again, this is kind of what I was going to say as like a blanket statement for this whole topic. Gillibrand is in control, and based on what we know of her, I feel like she's going to try at least to get to as many of the questions we would want asked as possible. The answers, we already know what's going to happen there. If the guy's not under a threat of penalty of perjury, chances are we're not going to get great answers. But just by her putting all that information out in the ether, I think there's a good shot that she will bring that up. Like, why the secrecy behind those other objects? Why did you show us one and not the other? It's just like when they entered the Wilson memo into the record at the first hearing. We didn't get a great answer as far as what was being asked, but it reached everybody's ears, and that is crucial. And I think that's Gillibrand's goal, aim, and I think she's going to pull it off, honestly.
Astral, if you could, I know you did talk about it briefly, but what are your thoughts on the hearings, and do you think, what are you hoping to get out of it? We know your kind of thoughts on it, but what are you hoping to see in the hearings and get out of it?
Just a better expectation of what the reporting process and the transparency is going to be like. And I'd like to see what Kirkpatrick's actual feelings maybe on the topic, because I think maybe some people are thinking that he wanted to take this position and is sort of relishing in it and sort of hiding the information. And there's others that are thinking he was sort of pushed into or put in that position and he doesn't want anything to do with it. So I'd like to learn more about gauging. I mean, he's the person who has the most information on all of the reporting that's being done. It has to go through them. He's the one that's hearing about the balloons from last year all the way up to this year and getting all the information about it. So whether or not, like, I do want to see when he's pressed a little bit, sort of how he reacts, because I feel like that needs to happen, of the tough questions. And I feel like Gillibrand's going to be the one to be able to ask those questions. But I think it's more of like less about what I'm looking for and how people are reacting, and maybe a little bit more about the Arrow office for me.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know how he handles that pressure, because I mean, the whole UFO community is going to be watching this, and a lot of general people will be watching it, just because this isn't something that happens all the time. It's not something that happens every day where you get hearings on UAP or UFOs for lack of a better term. So I'm really I want to hear about, basically what I'm looking for is I want to get some fundamental stuff out of the way, right? I want to get confirmation that there has been interference. There is something that, like, I want to hear it flat out that they are looking into cases that happened, because we know that they pushed back the date to, what was it, for the Trinity era, right? They moved the date prior to Roswell or before Roswell to that Trinity era. So I want to know what they're aiming to do with this office, and are they aiming to tell us, connect some of the dots, or are they about to confirm a non-human intelligence that's, in the skies? What are we gearing up for? Because this is the second set of hearings in what, 3-4 years, and before that it was what, 60 years.
Yeah, big difference.
So, I mean, there's clearly a ramping up effect. There's more interest from the public. There's more documented sightings, which we'll get into in a few. There's, I mean, 2 videos came out last week that are among the better of the videos I've ever seen. If they're real. So there is something that's happening, and there at a frequency that seems to me more often. I don't know if it's more often or we're just able to document it better, but people are starting to notice that this isn't bullshit, that UFOs exist in some form or capacity, right? We don't know if it's Russian. I mean, we probably know it's not Russian. It's not Chinese.
It's not.
We know that, but we still have to check all the boxes, right? So the quicker we can check, eliminate those as possibilities, the quicker we get to the actual truth, right? How these crafts are able to take right-hand turns, right? 90-degree angles, how they're able to drop from 80,000 feet to sea level in under a second. These are things that, I mean, would change us fundamentally as a technological society. So, if someone's holding out on us, I want to know who the fuck it is. Who's, because if humans have that sort of technology and they are not sharing it with the rest of the world, they are thus hindering the advancement of our society.
No question. Hey, I want to break in real quick. Our buddy Truth texted me here and says Roswell is on the books according to sources. The source works close to Sheehan, and Kirkpatrick is said to be under oath. Anyone in that committee who testified is put under oath.
Well,
so, I mean, conflicting, obviously, but Truth has been he's pretty.
He follows
in,
these
I mean?
pretty
very tightly. Shout out to
closely.
Truth for texting me that, because he's actively sending me stuff still.
That's
here.
good to know, though. I mean, that's better than not being.
Can you read that one more time so I can hear it?
Yeah. Yes, so he said, in this order, Kirkpatrick is going to be under oath. Anyone in that committee who testified is put under oath. Roswell is on the books, according to a source, and that source works close to Sheehan. And he also just sent me a yep, and he just sent me a tweet. Senate UAP hearing. Jackie Rosen, legislative correspondent, said Kirkpatrick, as witness, is expected to be under oath and tell the truth, as others witness in all the Senate subcommittees have done before.
Well, listen, I hope he's under oath. I hope he doesn't. And just for the record, though, like, being under oath doesn't necessarily mean you can't wiggle around questions.
Right.
As long as
you're under
it
penalty
properly.
of perjury. Like if you get caught lying, the penalties are steep. Like,
yeah, but saying you don't know isn't lying.
Oh yeah, right. If you don't know,
I never heard about that. Sorry.
Which is
well, even like the risk to national security, I think is going to be brought up. We're not going to be able to get it, and I think that there's going to be a key term or response that's going to be like, well, I can't disclose that. It's a risk to national security or something like that.
Or I swear, are they doing a public and a closed? Are they doing a closed, like non-public version?
Not sure.
Because one of the things that drove me absolutely fucking bonkers last time was every other question they'd be like, "We'll address that in the closed hearing," and I'm like, "Oh Jesus fucking!"
But
so
I get it. Some of
the good
some of
stuff.
those platforms, like if you catch footage of one of these objects on a certain platform, and it just happened to be over, say, France, Germany, and they weren't necessarily aware of the fact that we were there. Like, it's a gray area. Like, I get it. As much as we want to know, we also do have to protect our assets. But at the same time, I feel like that's going to be their new like go-to excuse. Like, oh, we can't talk about that because it was a classified platform, and then we're walking a tightrope. And it's just like, how about you just give us all the information that doesn't come from any of those sources, because we know you have it. Not all of these things have to be protected. Like if it was over Utah or Nevada, why the hell? Like, that's not an issue of national security. It's over our own airspace.
Yeah.
So this is the main page of the Armed Services Committee. So what it basically the page is it's showing that it's like kind of like a calendar, and it says so the basically what it's reading is the Congress is ready to receive testimony on the mission, activities, oversight, and budget, which we now know the Arrow has finally got their budget. Of the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. So again, I think this is a huge step forward, but I think a lot of people expect when they hear UAP hearing, they think, oh my God, they're about to tell us aliens exist. Now, I would not get your hopes up for any sort of disclosure. But again, I think with each step we take, the needle gets a little closer. Our friend Stephen Bassett thinks that disclosure is literally months away. Now, I cannot confirm that, but he is a very plugged in gentleman, and he thinks that he's been doing this for 20, 30 years, and he's said he's never felt closer to disclosure than we are right now.
That's fair.
So
I think that's a fair
a fair
statement.
assessment.
Also, the hearing, Truth says that the public hearing is going to be 3 hours long. And
which we will be live streaming. I'll be here. I don't know if Tom will.
I'm gonna try my best to get off of work for that so that we can cover it. If not, obviously I'll have a lot to say. We'll
watch party. Nice.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're going for here.
Yeah, Astral, if you want to join, you're more than happy. April 19th, 11 a.m.
Everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome. Gary Nolan confirmed this as well, that it's gonna be 3 hours long, and apparently, Kirkpatrick can't say he doesn't know because whistleblowers have talked to him and the Senate.
Now, we know, I will say this. So we know that Astral, so I don't know if maybe we can go through the list of people that we know have testified to Arrow. I know Mario Woods is one of them because he told us he was one of them.
Yes, he did.
So he was one. We know that most likely Ryan Graves is another.
Probably Stratton.
Yep, Commander Fravor, most likely. Jay Stratton. Does anyone have any other names that they think may have? Because if we can figure out who's testified, we can kind of or discuss what they may know or what they can say that they know. Would Robert Salas be one of them? Because Robert was a part of the nuclear incident, so where they shut the nuclear weapons off. So
I'm trying to think. Now,
I wonder if it's like being involved in the programs or also experience, because you mentioned Mario Woods of like experiencers, but also people who are involved in these programs are just as important as well.
Well,
that's a good question. Will that get brought up? Will we get any public reveal of any of these legacy program workers / witnesses? Because that information, like, there's a wall between the public and the legacy program workers, and I feel like with each passing week, like, there's a brick being taken out of the wall little by little. Like, more and more stuff is coming out, like what James Fox had mentioned just like earlier this week, that these workers, these scientists, engineers, what have you, they've said that they could literally walk you through these facilities and take you to where the stuff is. Like, they know where it is. Right. Like, that's shocking. Think about that for a second. That's startling. If someone like that really has spoken to Congress, I'm sorry, but it's only a matter of time before this information gets to us. Like, it's too big. It's way too big. They're not going to be able to keep that quiet. It can't.
Imagine you were a Congress member and you don't really have too much of an interest in UAP, or say you're a normal, politician, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're hearing testimony that, this person basically got not only had a sighting over a nuclear missile silo, but was potentially and most likely taken aboard some sort of ship and, had hours of missing time. All of it's confirmed. And, so you're starting to hit every single hot button issue, right? National security. And just, we're not alone in the universe. So you just start checking all the boxes off and you're like, well, what the fuck? Like your whole world just gets upside down, and just
It's hard to even digest all at once. And plus, doesn't that now bring into question literally every anecdotal piece of evidence ever, no matter how wacky it is, no matter how strange it might come off, like it's in like the high level 10 of high strangeness. It will make you take a step back and be like, well, wait a second. That one story, or that one time I was watching an episode of this show, and this lady talked about how this happened. Like it literally blows the lid off of all of that, and like there's no reasonable, intelligent, rational thinking human being that can sit there and be like, oh well, I'm not gonna like look at any of those things. It just doesn't mean anything. It literally means that all of those stories may potentially be true.
well, we know
like,
that
it's insane.
Robert Hastings' book, UFOs and Nukes, literally gets
Yeah.
passed around at the CIA.
That's
right?
crazy, isn't it?
It's literally passed around to people at the CIA as like a reference document. Like, hey, read this. So it's this is a legitimate, serious issue. Imagine, imagine Russia could just take control of our nuclear weapons. This would be the most pertinent story of all time. Right? It would be all over every fucking news media outlet. It would be the biggest story for months on end. But the minute you say UFO, it's like, oh, everyone starts laughing. It's like, well, and no, it's shouldn't be laughing.
That's not possible.
Yeah, Astral. I mean, do you agree that this is not only a national security issue, but that this is the biggest story of human history?
Yeah, well, yeah, no doubt. I think what I'm also looking forward to after is I feel like, people on UFO Twitter, like those are the journalists right now, which are they're going to dig in. And I feel like he might say something, and then UFO Twitter, the researchers, the independent, like guys like us, they're going to dig in and find something that he said and connect something up with the puzzle pieces. But I also want to see how it's interpreted by the mainstream media and people that don't know anything about the topic. I think if the UFO community can capitalize on the attention that it's going to get on the 19th and the 20th and the 21st, sort of like when those three objects, it was like the biggest story of any story for a couple days. I think that same sort of atmosphere is going to be here around that time. And if we can, use that momentum to get more information or more out of it, I think it'll be really beneficial. So I'm looking forward to like the feedback or the interpretation of the hearing after the few days after, to see how everybody feels about it.
Yeah, it's nice to see, though. I mean, as I am personally under the belief that the hearings are good, right? They're good for the general public to get involved and to get more people involved. And I mean, it's a big funding tool, right? Because the more people that know about this, the more people that are going to back it, the more people that understand that this isn't just a United States issue. This is a global issue, right? Not necessarily an issue, but you know what I mean. Because I don't think they're here to kill us, right? I don't personally.
No.
I think
Control us?
no. I don't even want to go that far. I think that the world needs to get on the same page with this. I don't think we can go at it from as country to country. I think it's something we're all going to have to do together. So, maybe the next step is, UN, like literally, like United Nations. I don't know what the equivalent to Congress is in the UN, but some sort of hearing at the UN where everybody, all countries get, anyone who's a part of NATO gets to come in and
It'd be the UN General Assembly.
Yeah, is that what it's called?
I believe so. Yeah, so it'd be like kind of like who Ronald Reagan spoke in front of when he made that famous statement.
So if we could get on that kind of platform and get the whole world involved, I think we're looking at a rapid advancement in the topic, in the UFO UAP topic. Just by that united feeling of how about we all start sharing data and come to grips that we may not be alone.
I think that would be a great idea. Plus, there's also precedent, not just with our hearings, but I feel like it just kind of flew under the radar. But I paid very close attention to it, and I thought it was amazing. The hearings down in Brazil were really
Those are
like
good too.
that was really an amazing event. There was a lot of incredible information shared. It was very transparent, and they really didn't hold back. They even brought up abductions, experiencer accounts, like things that they really just haven't gone anywhere near yet in the United States as far as our hearings or any sort of public statements that have been made. So I feel like that's where we start. The United States can lead the charge if it wants to. It doesn't have to, but I think it's a good idea if it does, because we obviously try to do that with everything in the world at this point. But we get in touch with representatives in Brazil, and we say, hey, those hearings that you had, hey, our hearings that we had, let's come together. Let's go together maybe to the UN and see who else wants to jump on board. The next country that comes to mind for me would be Italy. Lou
Italy.
Elizondo has gone
Yeah.
there. He has spoken with representatives from the Italian government that shared some amazing data and evidence with him as far as UAP that may have accidentally taken down a helicopter. I mean, there's a lot there. So it's like you have United States.
I don't think
Italy,
it was
Brazil, and that's where it
accidental.
starts. It may not have been.
I don't think it was
I say that
accidental.
very loosely because it didn't really look accidental, but whatever did it.
Dusty, you ever heard about that one?
No, what's this?
Oh, well, there was an episode. I think it was Unidentified.
It was
on
unidentified.
History
Yeah.
Channel. I had briefly heard about it, but I was like, I don't know. I haven't seen any evidence. And then they showed like photos of the helicopter and photos of the object. And apparently a UAP took down a helicopter over Italy. It was, it was wild. I'll try to find the clip.
Yeah,
and
we
I'll
knew
put
it
in
took
our
down.
chat.
Like, did like it
No,
actually?
no.
It took it out of the sky.
Fired.
Like
This thing, they showed the picture of it. So you know,
the helicopter
has like the back wing thing.
Yeah.
You know how it's like and then the thing comes off. Well, there was a probably a good 2 foot long piece taken out of the back, like it was hit with some sort of energy weapon.
Undeniable.
So by doing that, the helicopter uses that tail for
so it spiraled.
Yeah, the
so
tail
it starts
rotor.
spiraling, and it had to make a forced landing.
Yep.
But the Italians figured something out. When they use that weapon, when they use their energy weapon, that's when they're most vulnerable. So
What do you mean
that's
by
when
that?
they figured out that
They gotta like put their shields down or some shit.
they have to put their shield down. Let's quote unquote shield.
Sounds like
I don't know what it,
Independence Day.
yeah,
But
they
if they're able to
figured
figure
it out.
that out, they obviously know a lot more than any of us realize, right? Like for them to be able to determine that, like think about what would go into collecting that kind of information and data from any object in the airspace. You you're closely monitoring it on radar. You are looking at it through like a spectrogram, like everything. How would you know that they're dropping anything at all? Like they're studying those. Like the Italian government apparently was really transparent about it.
Well, let's face it. There are countries like Brazil, like Italy, that are just much more open about this, and
that's true.
They stopped looking at it like it was a fairy tale.
Mm-hmm.
And they said
the stigma is not there. They don't have that stigma, the same stigma that we do.
Too many people see it.
Like
we have
so much pop culture. We fucking like whitewash the whole idea of aliens.
And the
very true.
The amount of sightings that occur like per capita in Brazil, it might be even higher than in the United States. I know, like I think most of the sightings in the world happen in the United States, but there's clusters in Brazil where there's just like you get more sightings that more people see at once. Like here, you might have a story where somebody contacts MUFON or New Fork, and it was like 1 or 2 people. But down in Brazil, it's like 5-6 people per sighting. So there's a big difference there.
I think it has to do with like biodensity, like in biodiversity. And I feel like that's like a very like hot spot. You know, like rainforests or like highly populated areas.
That's a really good point. I
thought
like,
about that. Definitely studying something about our planet.
Yeah, they might be interested in like the biome.
Yeah.
Imagine that because I think there's always been a speculation that UFOs, there's a pattern. I think actually, who was telling me this? I can't remember. But they chart there's lots of info or data to suggest that water and nuclear there's something to do with water nuclear.
Yes.
Where more UFO sightings happen around those, lots of water or nuclear technology.
Do you know the specifics behind the water part? Because I do.
What do you mean? I mean, if you
so Lou, I believe I heard this from him. Elizondo had said that it's been theorized. I think he said this on a podcast. It's been theorized that some of these objects, what they're doing is they're coming down, they're going down to the surface of the water. They're taking the liquid water and they're converting it into like a different form. Like maybe they're extracting. They think it's like hydrogen that's being extracted from it, and they're possibly using that as like a fuel source. That has been theorized.
There's the guy that what was his name again? He came up with
he
the
made this
hydrogen
fucking
fuel.
hydrogen engine,
Yeah, he made the hydrogen engine.
The water car guy.
Yeah, what was his
that
name?
They killed. I don't remember. I always forget his name, but I mean,
why is that? What do I say? God, what the fuck?
God, I always forget. But he had, for people that are listening and don't know, in like the late 80s, early 90s, there was a gentleman who apparently created a vehicle that could run off of water. And there was a news story that ran about it. And the Department of Defense was interested in his patent. And one day he's out at like lunch or brunch or whatever. Yeah. With his wife. And he starts choking. And he says, "Oh my God, they poisoned me." And he drops dead. That's the story that I know.
Yes.
I can't confirm all of it, but I can confirm that there was a news
Astral,
story.
do you know who it is? What's his name?
I don't. The name doesn't come to me.
Let me see if I can
share
find
a
it.
quick Google search.
I feel like it starts with the S.
Let's see if I can find. I'll try to be our show's version of Jamie from Joe Rogan. Stanley Allen Meyer.
I beat you.
I knew it was an S. I knew it.
That was close.
I knew it. What do you mean close? I just came up with the letter. But Dr. talks about him a lot.
Dusty kind of got the name before I did. He kind of beat me to it.
So Stanley Meyer. I mean, and then we all know about the Tesla stuff, right? I mean, the FBI, they were quick to jump on him, his research after he passed. So, I mean, could there be suppression of technology, and could that be a theme? I think so.
I think that's big time. I think that's a huge part of this entire conspiracy behind UFOs to cover up everything. It's the perpetual oil industry. I almost want to call it the oil industrial complex. They have a monopoly over energy, and
they really do. Like, that's why we haven't fucking perfected.
Yeah, they're gonna go bottom up overnight. Just like Bob Lazar was talking about. There was that specific part of Jeremy Corbell's interview with him in the Bob Lazar documentary, and he mentioned that like it would be an immediate change. And do you know how many people have like hundreds of millions of dollars invested in the oil industry? It would be chaos.
Yeah, there's also like millions of people that are employed by that industry, and all the industry that it trickles into.
I saw this at work today, Ty, and like I dropped my phone. I was like, "Oh, what is that?"
Yeah, so so we're gonna squeeze on. We're gonna move on to there's a lot of video stuff that I want to get to today. One of them is this one. Then we have one of the other ones that is from the Leto files. Someone has got a lot of noise. It's driving me insane. I can't tell who it is though, so I'm muting it. It's not Tom or Astral because they're muted. It's probably Dusty, honestly, because he's the only one fucking without a microphone. Even though I gave him a microphone. Asshole.
Calling him out.
I gave him a microphone. He doesn't want to use it.
Look, he's talking and he's muted, prick bastard.
Yeah, he muted himself though. All right, so we have there's 3 videos that I want to get to today. This is one of them, which I haven't watched the full thing yet, but the second one is from Chris Leto in the Leto files. His first name's Chris, right?
Yeah, Chris Leto. Yep, Chris is great.
Which apparently him and Ross Coulthart are working on a case together, which we'll see the video from. And the third one was from a pilot, a model, and they were in Colombia. Which Jaime Musan shared my video of it, my comparison to the gimbal, and I've been getting notifications for Brazilian or whatever whatever language it is, I can't read. So
Portuguese, maybe?
all my tweets that I've been getting notifications for are in a different language because
Oh,
like so I'm like I have no idea what any of these people are
do
saying.
you know how long
I
it would
wish I
take for you
did.
to like translate all that and then reply to it?
Yeah, it'd be terrible. But
Shout out to them though.
here it is. This is from Reddit. It is a thing on Reddit. I don't know who it's from. I'll shout it out later. But here it is. You guys can hear it.
On another occasion in October
Can you
1978,
hear it?
3 uniformed police
Indeed.
officers in a rural area of Buckinghamshire observed a huge object, which they described as a size of a football field, which suddenly and silently materialized in front of them in the blink of an eye and at relative close proximity to their position. However, there were also a number of smaller objects flying around the large main object, akin to a mothership kind of scenario. And the larger object then projected a beam down to the ground, which was the width of the football field, which then traversed the ground as if scanning the terrain for several minutes. They watched for this event for approximately 5 minutes before suddenly it went off and dematerialized in the blink of an eye. 1 second it was there and then it was gone. And this has been described as like switching on a light bulb on and off. Not something that I think our stealth capability is quite capable of yet. The source of that report is the police constable Eric Raymond, retired of the Thames Valley Police.
A UFO in China's skies forced Zhoushan Airport to stop operations on July 7th. Outbound flights were grounded after the unidentified flying object was detected by a flight crew. The incident has captured the attention of Chinese media. Theories about the UFO's identity are burning up on the internet as well. They include everything from a hidden U.S. bomber to an elaborate man-made hoax. For now, the UFO continues to be a mystery. A spokesman from China's Civil Aviation Administration confirmed to ABC News that the matter is under investigation.
UFO over China. According to reports, an airport in Inner Mongolia was forced to shut down to prevent passenger jets from crashing into the unidentified flying object. Witnesses reported a bright light shining in the sky before it suddenly vanished. On July 8th, Zhoushan International Airport was shut down because of a UFO. Officials later confirmed the object sighted was part of a military test. This latest show in the sky makes for the 8th reported UFO sighting in China since June.
Not something that I think our stealth capability is quite capable of yet.
Officials later confirmed the object sighted was part of a military test.
Yeah, sure it was.
I'm confused.
So,
yeah, I'm a little
these are
confused
from
as well.
I can help you guys out. So
Well, like they're using all the same images for these two different events.
there's well no, so it's multiple events. It's just that it's the same damn object. So the one from China was very like that blew up pretty hard. Now, if you look in the comments on Reddit, someone thinks that the footage may have been real, but what somebody did is that in that one of that clip where it kind of buzzes off and shoots up, that clip's fake. Like I think that clip looks fake. The other one is really interesting. However, like the footage aside, these photos are real. These are definitely real because Chinese media was sharing it. Like these were taken by people. Like one of these photos was taken by somebody that like worked at the airport.
So all of those
and
photos
it wasn't even supposed to go
incident?
public. So I think so the first couple photos that you see, like this one that
Because
you're
that
looking
English
at
dude,
right
it
here.
sounded like he was in the 80s. He was from like that was an interview in the 80s. Like that lady was wearing shoulder pads next to him.
No,
that
Linda
wasn't from the
Moulton Howe,
80s.
she
That's
always
recent.
wears it.
Yeah, that's recent because I know what she
Yeah.
looked like in the 80s.
Linda lives in the 80s still.
Yeah. Shout out to Linda for I like your sleeves. They're real big.
She's still talking about crop circles somewhere, so I
Hey
don't know.
man, I did a report on crop circles. It was very interesting. But it got me an A+. So these photos I believe are from multiple incidents, but I know the first image, the very, very, very first image that they show is definitely from China because I remember it, and so is this one. But it's what the post is about is that they're like, hey, these are multiple incidents, and that looks to be the same object.
Mm.
over
Okay.
multiple events at multiple locations, multiple times.
Okay, so
Even
like
like
I
the
said,
same amount of lights.
so like I said, I think someone just said it. So probably the least compelling of the three, but it still shows something that we're seeing a lot more of, and that's these craft that seemingly defy the capabilities that we currently have in our arsenal, right? And it's just we're able to document these cases much more frequently now. So being able to see them, it makes me. I mean, there's a lot more CGI, of course, but I mean, the pictures, the still frames, those ones looked good.
Yeah, those are real. And also, I just want to point out that I know the Chinese military said that they were testing something, but I'm sorry, no major superpower or world power or anybody that has a competent military is going to do that type of test near an airport to the point that they have to cancel flights without notifying the airport first. That's bullshit.
Definitely.
Astro, what do you think of that?
I mean, it's compelling. It's compelling footage. I don't know though. It's just those the ones that seem too good to be true when they're documented like that usually end up becoming faked. Yeah, but one of the things that I asked on my Twitter a couple days ago, sort of in response to Leto, was would you prefer people that usually it seems like get footage, like people send a certain person footage to sort of be like, put it out there or something. Would you rather them to put it straight out to the public, or would you rather them get a professional analysis and sort of keep it to themselves for a while?
That's a good question.
That's a good question. Yeah, I think the latter is maybe the more fair way to go about it, because then you're not releasing something to the public that's going to waste our time. It's like, hey, let's put this through a scientific filter first. I don't really have too much of a problem with that, honestly. I don't.
Well, I mean, it gives a little more like validity, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. So it comes out with the seal of approval from someone that has the ability to examine it before
like a filter.
we even look at it. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, no, I don't have an issue with that.
The thing is everybody on UFO Twitter is a professional video,
right?
Professional video analyzer.
That's right.
So no matter what, you're always going to get the people, that say it's bullshit, or say it's this, or say it's that. This next one, I'm still struggling to like. Is it the left brain that's the more grounded one, or is it the right side of your brain?
I always mix it up, so don't ask
Whatever.
me. I always mix
whatever
it up.
side of my brain that is the more realistic one.
Yeah.
This next video, it keeps telling me that it's just some bullshit refraction anomaly.
Okay.
But the other side of my brain is like, dude, what the fuck is this thing? Because I mean, if it is what it looks like, I mean, this might be the best piece of video evidence that I've ever seen. Because you'll see. But this was like, shout out to Chris Leto for sharing it, and Ross Coulthart for doing the legwork on it. It's remarkable, and it's from the Australian outback. Apparently, this guy was out in the outback, and it's the dead of night, and all of a sudden he looks up, and there's this bright. What he says now, I want to preface this. He says that not all the colors that you're about to see were actually visible to the naked eye. At one point, it just seemed like a bright white light. Now, this is, take it with a grain of salt. It's from the witness. Ross Coulthart, who has a very, very great gauge on people, is one of the top, if not the top, investigative journalist in the UFO field.
Yeah.
He says this guy is credible. So, but the guy won't come forward. He says apparently he has he's antisocial, a little bit on the spectrum, they said. So he doesn't really want the attention that comes with this kind of thing. So he wants to stay anonymous for now. But take a look at this. So watch the colors, watch the outline. It is a cell phone video, so hopefully we can see it.
For something. We're not going to run into anything that's that close to what we are. We're either going to meet things that are very much below us or very much beyond us. I doubt very much we're going to run into anything that's at
I mean,
our
that's a
level of
disc right
tech or
there.
within 10,000 years of it, or even a million.
I will say that
Michael,
he did say that since he videoed this,
Whoa.
he
Yeah,
didn't,
what?
and he had many negative things start happening. His car started breaking. His phone was hacked. He said 4-wheel drive vehicles were following him. Again, I don't know if
Now look at
that's
the
true,
churning.
but assuming he's credible.
Well,
It looked like plasma.
Yeah, looked almost like a sun.
Ty,
You
I'm
know,
kind
it
of having a
looks
similar
insane.
reaction.
we're not
as you,
going
but
to
there's
run into
something
anything
weird
that
there.
So my initial reaction was, first off, when it starts getting closer, you see this outline of now a refraction often looks very crisp, and a refraction would have not only the circle, but it most likely would have other circles around it and like lines coming, and at every angle shift it would change, right? Like it wouldn't stay so constant like it is. But that center thing, it's like it's churning over.
It's weird.
Now, one of the really good parts that Ro brought up is that each one of these colors you can associate with a different element. And what do we know about when you heat up an element to make it a plasma? It burns at the highest degree possible, and it would emit some, sort of light, right? So when you're burning, I forget which ones he said, but like oxygen. He went down a list of them, and he was like, blue is I'm just making shit up now. Blue is helium, red
Yeah,
is
but no, I know
nitrogen.
what you're saying.
But you know what I'm saying? So
How does that account for the fact that you're seeing those colors through the camera, but some of
But
them, like you
he-
said, were not visible to his eye? Like,
right.
what?
So the witness said that he could not. There was no discernible red or orange. It was bright white. So it lit up the outback, like the Australian outback. You know how we hear about that a lot in UFO cases,
Yeah.
where all of a sudden there'll be a bright white light like that. It
Yeah.
almost feels like daytime.
Yeah.
That's what he was saying happened.
But do you know what
So-
kills me about this, though? To be really, really like unbiased and put on like my debunker hat real quick, when and I don't normally do that. I don't come at it from the mindset of a debunker. But what bothers me a little bit is where's like the beginning and end of this footage. Like clearly it stops in the middle. I'm sorry, but if I was seeing this, like I am gonna keep my camera on it for as long as possible. So it's like, is there more footage? Is there
That's
a reason
true.
they're only showing us like a piece of this? But I'm not saying that this isn't something weird, because I gotta be honest, I've never seen a piece of footage like this before where it
Yeah.
has that sort of like almost liquidy, like plasma kind of motion to it. It looks like living energy almost. It's weird. I've never seen one like this. I've seen some orbs or spheres that people are like, oh, it's ball lightning, and it's like, but it's sticking around for way longer. You myself and Earl were talking about those types of objects. This is weird though, and if that's the other thing though, if Colt Hart says this guy's credible, like he's credible.
So look right. I want you to
Like
look at
balls of light coming off of it too.
You see the churning of the
Yeah.
so here it looks like a pretty constant circle, but
look at those rays above it though too. Look at that.
Right? I've kind of skipped through it. The middle part is shifting. Like with each color change, it becomes a different
Look at
shape.
that. Look at that. It's like metamorphosizing, like right there. Like, dude, I'm gonna have to take this footage and I'm gonna slow it down in Premiere tonight and like look at it frame by frame by frame.
I'll send you guys an account. There's somebody who has actually, I don't want to say they've debunked it totally, but they've made a pretty good case in terms of the light filter that they've used. I'll send it.
Okay.
to you guys.
I mean,
Fair.
if
No,
it
fair.
Yeah.
if it is a hoax, I would love to know
Yeah.
because I don't want to waste my time. But I think it's pretty compelling if no one can come up with a good theory or debunking. As of right now, I'm looking at it like, wow, that's pretty fucking. That's pretty compelling, to be honest.
But it even goes back to the question, like the person who sort of presented their argument on the skeptical side of it, which honestly, I jump in. I'm more of the skeptical part when I first see a video, just because I've been so disappointed throughout the years, right? You just get your hopes up that this is the one, but I think that if you jump on the skeptical side, that it goes back to me, if you release it to the public, there's people who might take a little bit different perspective or have a skill or an expertise in a certain area when it comes to this, that could come forward and provide that debunking that needs to happen.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's to your question earlier when you said, would you rather them hold it or release it? I'm going to go with the release it because that's the good part about the public is when you get the public involved, there's so many people.
The best investigators.
Yeah. There's so many people that have so many different areas of expertise. One person might be an expert in missiles and recognizes, hey, I know exactly what that is.
It's more eyes on it.
Right. I know exactly what that looks like on a video because I've, done it before. This is the back end of a thruster, right? An astronaut says, oh yeah, that's just that's something that gets pushed off the spacecraft. Like we need all these different angles so that we know what's real, what's fake, what's hoaxed and what's not. So again, if please send that to me, Astro. And I know you got to go. So, I know you're doing a Twitter Spaces at 10. So where can people follow you on Twitter and find that space?
Yeah, just follow me at the Astral. So it's at _Astral theastral.com. But yeah, come out. I'm doing a remote viewing space in about 20 minutes here. It'll be going for a couple hours on Twitter. I do it every Thursday. Man, thanks for having me on, guys. Great discussion as always.
Yeah, we were happy to have you. It's really great to do
Always
this again with you, man.
All right, man.
Later, guys.
We'll see you.
Yep.
We'll see you soon.
Peace.
All right, bro.
Love.
Yep.
And love is out too. Yep.
If all your sightings, all your craft or things that you've seen, have you ever saw something that changed lighting like that?
No, I've only seen them like I said, I've only seen them come and appear as one color.
So like a
Not just one
solid
color,
white?
but like yeah, it would be either white. I've seen them come as white, yellow, or orange, but never like multiple colors flashing all at once. To me, that kind of looks like LED lights flashing in colors. Like, how in Christmas colors, how you see those things like flashing and
Right.
things like that.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what it kind of reminds me of. I've never seen anything like that personally, but what I can say though is that it does look like it's moving in a very odd way, but I'm not 100% sure what that honestly is.
That's fair.
And that's again, I there's even we have one more UFO video to go, but
Oh yeah.
now these all fucking dropped in the same week, and it was just like, whoa, kind of like an overload. But I mean, just to touch on this one a little bit, Chris Leto and Ted Rowe. I mean, Ted Rowe is even like, wow, I think you might have something here. And Ted Rowe is the founder of NARCAP. And
Yep.
this guy is not just a nobody. Like he was even like, this might be something. So and Ross Coulthard, I feel like, and I'm willing to say it might be fake, but Ross Coulthard, I mean, he's just not the type of guy to fall for something like that. So
he's a little too sharp, and
it lends credence
just
to the
that,
story.
But think about this too, just for a second. Like, just because you can reproduce something to create the same effect on camera or in a photo, that doesn't necessarily mean that's what created it. Like, there could be tons of footage out there that are like, oh, it could be this, that, blah, blah, blah. But it could have really been a UFO. It just so happens that
it also uses
you
some
can
sort
create
of
that effect. Yeah.
Yeah, lights coming off of a UFO. Like, say that is plasma in the middle, right? And it's churning. Like, we don't know how that would look on a camera at that angle coming
It may
down.
look it
on a
could
craft.
look exactly like somebody pointing their camera at like a Christmas light. It just might. It's a coincidence, honestly.
So I know Mick West had pointed out that in one of the shots you see kind of like there's like 3 dots at the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he says usually if it's refraction, those 3 dots will show you what the real light source looks like. And I said, well, what if the real light source is the UFO and it gives off that same thing? Like,
yeah.
I just find it hard to believe that this is a simple case of refraction, because I've seen refraction, and I work with cameras almost every day. I've seen refraction. It's never as perfect, and I've never seen that effect where like it looks like there's a plasma ball.
Yeah, that one's really stumping me. That's what's really making me wonder.
So, are we gonna give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down for genuine curiosity?
I gotta give it a middle thumb.
Yeah,
I gotta give it the spirit hands.
Well, everyone in the chat, if you can give me a thumbs up or thumbs down, let me know what you think of that video. I want to know what everyone thinks, because this has been making the rounds on UFO Twitter like you would not believe.
Oh yeah.
Everyone from Mick West and Green Street and everyone's been chiming in on this one. And that's not even the best one, right?
No.
We're about to get to the best one, at least the best video of the week.
Probably of the year, honestly.
Maybe of the year. Now, I want to preface it by saying that now everybody remembers the gimbal video, right? You know, the gimbal UFO?
Yep.
Please tell me you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So just to remind everyone, we'll go through this little short Pentagon UFO vid.
That's not our LNS though, is it? It's not. That is the LNS, dude. Well, if there's look at that thing. It's rotating. Nickel 6-1 Tango Roger, Roger. Oh, go ahead! Woohoo! Roger, there's troubleshooting shooting. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow, look at that.
All right. So I want you to for the first one, you know, where he says, "Hey, it's rotating." The shape of that craft is what I want you to pay attention to when I present this next part. Okay. So let me get it queued up here. I have the comparison video that I did, which was quickly done. So I'll play it together, but I also want to play the regular video, just the sighting alone. But I want to play this one first. So, the left-hand side is the regular video, and obviously the right-hand side is the gimbal. Can you see it? Did I even add it yet? No.
Hey man, I'm actually about to head out.
All right.
All right, bud. Well, thanks for being here.
So, man.
Yeah, of course, bro.
I hope everything's okay tonight. Let me know how everything goes.
All right, man. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, sir.
It's super fast. That's the only thing you got to realize. So, did you see it?
Yes. Well, I've seen this footage.
Yeah.
So I kind of stop it because. So this is the craft.
That looks more like a plane.
What do you mean that looks like a fucking
No.
plane?
That looks more like one of those stealth bombers. You got like a right angle or.
I know, yeah, at that angle, but as you move through it, like what I see, honestly, is like an object that's got a flat side that it's not reflective. This is one of the main things that I notice about the object. That left side, the side that's facing us right now, doesn't look like it's reflective material, but the other side that's kind of got that hump, that like bubble, that looked very reflective, especially in the if you go to the very last frame that it's visible in, it almost looks like glass.
No, because I flip it in this part. But do you see what I mean about the similarity in shape?
Yes,
between
absolutely.
the gimbal?
Unmistakable.
between the gimbal and the craft that was seen. Now,
But this could just be an angular thing too. It's really
it
hard
could
to
be an
say.
angular. It could be an angular.
Because I thought it looked like
optical
like a
phenomenon.
flat square with a hump at first, or then like a diamond. But then at this angle, it resembles the gimbal. So it's whatever it is, though. I don't think that's a balloon. And there were a couple pilots that were chiming in on Reddit on the original post that this was shared on, and they even said that if you observe, because they were trying to figure out whether it was moving or if it was
Yeah.
stationary. And one of the pilots said that at one point in the video, the earlier portion, it looks like it's moving and that it comes to a stop.
Yeah, I was wondering that because if it flew past at that speed, that would fuck that plane up. You'd get
It's not it's not a balloon though, because think about it, a balloon's going to have a much more
Yeah, so a lot
erratic,
of people are
random
saying
motion.
it's a balloon.
It's
A
not, I
lot
don't
of
believe
people
it's a
are
balloon.
saying it's a balloon, and I am under the impression. Now, we all know. So has anyone ever been in a train and
Yeah.
you're in a tunnel stopped at a station, and
Mhm.
another train, you're stopped, and another train passes by, and it makes you feel like you're moving, even though you're not.
It's like a weird parallax kind of
Yes.
effect. Yep.
So that same effect is what people are saying is happening. Now, they're saying that our plane that we're in now, the plane that we're in is where the film is being taken. So
Mhm.
we're seeing it from the pilot's angle who took the video. So he's moving, and they're saying that is stopped. So it gives that same feeling that it looks like it's moving, even though he's passing it. I don't think that's the case at all.
Well, there's so a lot of people that I was reading saying that they think it was both. Like at the very beginning portion, it's actually moving towards the plane, and that the damn thing comes to a stop as it passes, which would make it even weirder.
So you're saying that, I mean, it pops up. So
Like right
you can
here,
see
it's
it
moving.
here. It's
Like right here,
moving.
it's moving, and that it's like slowing down to a stop, and that like right about here is like it's stopped. It's almost like it stopped to take a look at the plane, which would potentially mean
Now-
intelligence.
Now I flipped it, so that isn't. This is not the actual motion of it right here.
Right.
I flipped it to make it so that it'd be opposite, like a mirror effect.
Yeah.
But basically, it just flies by it, it just literally goes by the side of it. Now, I want to find the original video, but I can't find it anywhere. That's not a comparison. Do you have it?
Let me. I have it as a file.
Yeah, I can't find the original.
I don't know how I would send it to you. There's a Reddit post that has the original. If you go to Reddit and go to the top posts from the last week, it's there. That shit looks fake as hell. Whatever that is.
So I wanted to show this one.
It's a time lapse.
Here's a little time lapse from Twitter that I wanted to show. Ready? Check this out. Then a third one comes in.
Huh? Because the time lapse made it look weird. I was like, that's. But now I'm wondering.
Yeah. So that was another one that I caught that was pretty dope looking. But I'm gonna probably stop sharing videos now because it's too much work to try to fucking. When I used to have the Mac here, it was easy because I had my mouse and everything. But on a laptop, I have to reach up, and I don't have a real mouse. I have to use the fucking pad.
Like the Frankenstein hands, right?
Yeah, I feel like an idiot. I can't talk and do it at the same time. I'm not
tough.
Oh yeah, I'm not Jamie. I'm not young Jamie. So
I'm not young Jamie. That's right.
Anyway, so the second video, the pilot films it what it looks like to be a UFO flying belly first. Now, where have we heard that before? Now, I want to point out that Bob Lazar, as much as people might dislike him or like him or love him or hate him, that's not what I'm saying. But Bob talked about how the sport model that he worked on would basically fly belly first, right? It would use the whatever he called them, the things that propelled the craft. Basically, it would, like a bowling ball.
The gravity amplifiers.
The gravity amplifiers would basically warp the gravity in front of the craft so that the craft fell basically through. So it's
Mhm.
not actually flying, it's falling through space-time, right?
it's
And
weird.
that's what pushes it forward. That's what looks like it's happening. This thing doesn't, it's not shooting out jet fuel, right? It's not, there's no atmospheric distortion around it, right? There's no, you know, it doesn't seem to be burning some sort of, element like we would to propel itself forward. So I mean, what do you make of it? Do you think it could possibly be something like super stupid, or is this, eh, or is this a thumbs up or thumbs down? Because I think this one is a thumbs up.
It's a
Me,
thumbs up for me. I
uh,
think of course it could be something stupid, but after analyzing it so many times and seeing how many different people have analyzed it and the conclusions that they've reached, like if you go on Reddit, most of the comments that you'll see on Reddit, that somebody posts a piece of footage, right? And someone's like, oh, it's a balloon. It's usually upvoted, right? But with this video, any post that and any comment that's like, oh yeah, I think it's this stingray balloon thing, downvoted to hell. So there's a lot of eyes on this, and again, I went deep into the comments, and there's people that are trained professionals that fly single engine Cessnas, or there was even one guy who I believe he's a flight instructor. He said this is weird. Like, so
I mean, how could you not watch that and be like, well, what the fuck might that have been?
and
But-
apparently the altitude is even like, if that was a balloon, the altitude doesn't even make sense either.
Well, what I have a friend who is a pilot, and I
Mhm.
asked him what he thought of it, and he said what throws me off is that the pilot doesn't seem to take any evasive maneuver. And now, if anyone knows anything about closing, like how fast an object will close in on you, and what pilots need to do in order to get out of the way, like say you're flying in formation, right?
Yeah.
And you need to come across the plane. There's a rate of closing, basically, is what I'm talking about. So that all those calculations are super complex, and this pilot doesn't seem to take any evasive action.
Well, apparently it was observed that so somebody noticed that if you watch the footage in like the final frames, you can actually sort of see the pilot in the reflection of the window. And apparently they, even though it's a little late, they kind of, I don't know, maybe it was just a reaction time type of thing. We're all human, right? It can happen. So like you see the very beginnings of an evasive maneuver. That's one of the comments that I read, but it comes very late though.
Yeah, at that point you'd be dead. I mean, if this thing was coming at you, say it was stationary, and you
Mhm.
were coming in at that. I
Yeah.
mean, you lost, brother. I mean,
Yeah.
you did not get out of the way in time,
I
because
think
that
they were
thing.
distracted.
I mean, I can't say I wouldn't be if I saw something like that. Like,
Yeah.
but what throws me off is that, at least in the video, and we all know that videos don't really represent exactly what you are seeing. It
Mhm.
usually looks like a lot further away.
Right. I don't know how close that really was to the plane. It's hard to tell.
It is, and at the beginning, you almost can't see the thing, and then all of a sudden it pops out of nowhere and becomes a little dot. So, how far off did he see this thing coming, and did he already take that evasive action already?
I don't know how fast the plane's moving. We need like the math behind that. I don't even know how to begin to calculate that. I would need to look up some formulas. There's some trigonometry going on here.
I want to hear from the pilot, like actual. I want to hear him speak. There was apparently a model on the plane as well.
Yep.
And I want to hear both of their testimony, and I
Mhm.
want to see any of the corroborating data. So
Mhm.
anything, on the flight deck, if there was any, radar or anything like that. Probably not in like a single engine plane like that. Maybe, probably not. But and a lot of people were saying, why didn't the pilot turn the plane around and follow it? It's like, well, you can't. It's not like a highway. You can't get off and go back. You can't go backward. Like, that's not how flight paths work.
You're not taking a U-turn.
Yeah, you can't bang
Think
a
about
U.
it too. The amount of distance that's actually needed moving at that certain speed to make a U-turn, or to at least turn back, is a lot more than you would even think. Like Lou had mentioned that, like, if you're traveling in a plane that's doing like, Mach whatever, that in order to pull off a certain turn, it would take you like the distance, a distance that's like the equivalent of like the state of Ohio. Like
Right.
it's like crazy.
Now let's play the advocate here and say that this is a genuine UFO.
Okay.
Why do you think it let itself be seen like that? If it is genuine, why did it just fly past like that?
Well, maybe it really is just as simple as it just wants to be seen.
And
Maybe,
to
you know?
Christian Morales, April 18th is when season 4 debuts.
Right.
Season 4 Skinwalker Ranch debuts on April 18th, which is coming up. You guys gonna be watching?
Dude, I'm totally gonna be in on that. And shout out to Caleb. Obviously, he was on the show with us, and looking forward to what he was kind of giving us some hints about.
Yeah. So I tried to get an advanced copy, but I wasn't lucky enough to do that.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
It's tough in
Usually
that situation.
I can pull shit off, but not this time. History
All
is kind of a
gentlemen,
dickhead.
I gotta dip.
Yeah.
I'll see you later.
Well, I'm gonna be wrapping up in a minute. Dusty, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, good to see you, Dusty.
I'd say follow him on social media, but you can't. So
What a savage.
Go
As I
fuck
always say.
yourselves.
That's right.
all right, we'll see you next week, brother. So yeah, I mean, if this thing is genuine, why would it be so open at midday? It's a daylight sighting. It flies almost in a collision course with this other plane. You know, it had to know that they were going to record it.
Well, what if it's if it's autonomous?
Well, could it be a
perhaps?
human reverse engineered thing?
It's always possible, right? Like it's hard to say. I just don't think, just after so many times watching it, I just don't think it was a balloon. Like there's a lot of missing. There's a lot of characteristics missing to make that a balloon. I'm way behind, guys, but I think her Patrick's palms are
balloon?
sweaty, vomit is sweat.
I know. I just laughed at that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, probably. Whereas like Gillibrand's like the night before, she's gonna just be like up all night, pacing around her room, like I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna say this. She's like practicing in the mirror.
She's probably got every top UFO researcher, investigator in her ear. Like, get this talked about, get this talked about, get this talked about.
Oh yeah, she's
get
probably
this
a
talked
little
about.
overwhelmed, I'd imagine.
I think that she's gonna come in guns blazing.
Oh,
And
I do too. I think she's coming in hot, dude. I do. I think she's gonna swing for the fences, and she may low key turn into like the hero of this entire community over the course of 3 hours. Like, honestly,
Yeah,
like
if you
Gary
didn't know her
Nolan's
before,
up there. Yeah, you're gonna know who she is.
you're gonna know who she is after.
You gonna learn today, boy.
Yeah, you're gonna learn today about Senator Gillibrand. Is
She's
it
coming in hot.
Kirsten or Kirsten?
I think so. I don't know, man. I was saying her last name wrong for like a year.
Yeah, so she's been an advocate for the UAP topic for a long time, and or for a while now, I should say. And she fought for the funding of Arrow. She fought for the budget. So it's good to see that she's leading this thing, and
Absolutely.
I think we're in good hands. I really do.
I do too. And just based on some of the things that I've seen her question herself, like one thing I expect from her wholeheartedly is to do her best to hold Arrow accountable.
Yeah.
And I very much
Well,
appreciate her doing that.
think about it. If you fought for the funding and the budget of this Arrow office, you're gonna damn well make sure that they're doing exactly what they need to do. You know, so she's almost responsible to make sure that taxpayer money gets spent the right way. So
Absolutely.
I mean, she's on the hook just as much as everyone else.
Yeah, no question about it. And I think as long as we stay in her ear respectfully through social media and whatnot, that we'll get some results that we're happy with. We might not get the answers we want, but again, to me, the first step is to ask the right questions. The answers will come later, but as long as she brings up what needs to be brought up, like we're in good shape. Like I feel a hell of a lot more optimistic about this hearing than the first one. I know it was historic and whatnot, but I got to be honest, Ty. Like I have a good gut feeling about this.
I'm so glad that idiot Scott Bray won't be there this time. That idiot.
Oh,
he was so idiotic.
It wasn't a good performance.
we're gonna wrap up.
Yeah,
It was
man,
a
this was a
little,
good one.
well, it was a little crowded, honestly. I don't know if I like 5 people. It's just there's a lot.
Having Astral though, like, and of course Dusty is always great to have Dusty. I love too, all of those guys, but maybe every now and then, like, we do a 3-person thing and kind of like rotate who it's gonna be, because 3 people is great, man. Honestly,
It's just I tend to talk over. I feel like I talk over people, and
I do too. I talk over you a lot, but
that's
I don't
fine.
mean to. I it's just like you know what it is? It's just like kind of like what we tell our guests on the show. It's like we're having a conversation, right? This
Yeah.
is how I am, right? Like I talk.
I'm an interviewer.
Right.
With these conversations, I kind of go off cannon. So I like to interview people rather than have an open discussion. But again, we're trying to do this whole YouTube live aspect of it, and I do want to say that if you want to become a member of the channel, help me and Tom, stop working our regular day jobs so we can fly to the Great Pyramids
It'd be a
and
blessing.
to Joshua Tree and to all these other UFO hotspots and places so we can interview researchers, investigators,
Yes.
and we can keep creating content for you. That would be great. I just changed because they were still pop culture based, but I just changed the membership names to so the lowest tier is unclassified, the middle tier is secret, and the top tier is top secret. So they're
Ooh.
UFO. They're a little bit UFO themed now, so I'm hoping that'll entice people to join.
That's very cool.
Yeah, so when we get up to like 10 or 15 members, we'll start doing member live streams and giveaways and all that junk.
And I'm happy to put together, member only content, because there's some stuff I got to do over on my channel. Like I have some ideas, but just again, I don't want to put content behind a paywall for people, but I also want to reward those that are showing their support too. So it's kind of like,
well, that's what I do. That's
a
what
tightrope.
This is, and I think this is cool. A cool way to do it is like for last night, for instance, we recorded the interview with Earl Grey Anderson. So while we're recording it on StreamYard. So I basically I put it to YouTube as a members only video. So the members can watch us record it and get to see it early. So they're
Early
getting like
access.
but they're not only getting early access to it, but they're getting a live version of it.
The unedited version.
The raw, unedited, they can
So if
watch
we
us
screw
record
up,
it.
They'll see us have to pause and kind of go back, which doesn't happen often unless there's like
No.
connectivity issues.
The only fuck up this last episode was when Earl froze.
Yeah, he sure did. He froze like a motherfucker.
Yeah, he kept. Yeah. So I had
You're
to
like,
take
is he frozen for you too? And I was like, yeah. And I was just like, oh God, please come back, because it was such a great conversation. Like you guys all in the chat, like and anybody that ends up watching this, please don't miss that episode when it drops. The conversation we had with Earl Grey.
Yikes.
He is the director of MUFON in Southern California.
Can I tell you something true? Like, this is no fucking joke.
Yeah.
I had to sleep upstairs last night.
Okay.
My room is right there. I'm downstairs. I had to sleep.
Oh, so you were a little shook.
I was fucking because his abduction story is what we ended the show with.
That's true.
When he was talking about fucking things coming out of the wall.
Man.
I had to go up. I had to sleep upstairs last night. I'm not a bitch.
That freaks you out, man, huh?
Yeah, I'm not a bitch. I'm not a crybaby.
No.
But abductions do something to me on a fucking molecular level. I felt so uncomfortable last night that I had to sleep upstairs.
If I don't want to upset you, but I think you know what I'm going to say, right? Maybe. But the fact that you react that way is just, that I've been very deeply researching abduction for most of my life. You remind me of someone that's been abducted that doesn't know it. and there's other people who have said that of me too. But the way that you get worked up and fearful of it, it makes me wonder if there's something suppressed there. And I again, not trying to freak you out.
Yeah, I mean, I was
trying not to, but I got to be honest here. Like, I don't want to hold that back from you. I mean, here, look, I'll say this live on air too. I've mentioned this before. I got to take some photos of it. Specifically, on the inside of my right thigh, I have scoop marks. I have absolutely no idea how they got there. They look medical in nature. I've never had surgery. I have never had anyone operate on me that were human, at least. I have no idea where they came from, and they resemble some marks that I've seen on other abductees, and it makes me wonder, honestly, like, why am I so obsessed with this topic? Why have I been obsessed with the topic? Literally, it feels like from birth, Ty. Like it just there's something odd there, but for you to have such a visceral reaction to abduction stories, it's either what I said or it's just something that gets to you, right? Chances
Well,
are,
no,
chances are
'cause
it just freaks you out. You know what I mean?
no,
Like,
I'll
I don't
watch.
know.
I'll watch Blair Witch Project, Supernatural till
Mhm.
fucking 2 in the morning and sleep like a
Yeah.
baby.
But abduction
I'll
gets you.
watch horror movies, anything. I'll watch fucking literally anything.
Ever seen Fire in the Sky?
No, I don't. No.
You woo,
Yeah,
buddy.
no, I haven't.
It depends on who you are, but I will say that my dad's best friend, shout out to my uncle Donnie, not my real uncle, but that's what I call him. He watched that and apparently couldn't sleep for like days.
Yeah, so that's not something I'm
It's
ready
the
to
Travis
jump into.
It's the Travis Walton
I know
story.
who it is. Yeah,
But
but they changed it.
oh god,
They
it's
changed
the
the
complete
ending.
opposite of what I think actually happened, and the beings don't actually look like the beings that he saw apparently, but yeah, it was a very Hollywood move that they made with that. But yeah,
Yeah, he
I
was like
wouldn't I
super
wouldn't watch
pissed
that
about it.
before bed if you react this way to
Yeah.
those types of things. But I
Well,
think it could mean something though, Ty. It
it
really
was
could.
the detail that he put into it, like where he
Oh.
said, I mean, I'll quote it. He had said that, you know, he was, yelling, you come abduct me, being very, very naive about it. And so the way he described it, so he's like, I have a routine before bed. I was fluffing my pillow, and next thing you
Very
know,
specific.
very specific. That's what gets me.
And the way his eyes were moving too, like, is like when people recall information, like, and they're thinking about things from memory, it's really hard to keep track of all of your facial movements when you're lying, right? To try to cover it up. He was thinking and remembering. Like, I could see it on his face, man.
And
Like,
then
you
he's
guys are
talking
really gonna
about-
love what he talked about.
Yeah, then I mean, he's talking about like the portal, not a portal, but basically what I was seeing was he says this like void opens up, and these things kind of just float through, not float, but like come through, and then they float over to him, and then all of a sudden there's no sound, and he's trying to yell and nothing's coming out, and just the immense detail he put into it fucking shook me up. And I was like, I remember I sat on the couch and I'm like, nope, I can't sit. I can't.
Nope.
I can't be here. I need to
Oh
go
my
upstairs because I have we rent a room out to the other kid, and I literally felt more comfortable that someone else was upstairs, so I went up there. Yeah,
you know what, man? I'll give you credit for being honest about that. 'cause some
yeah, I'll
people-
be honest. Yeah, I'm not to hide.
all of us have something like that, whether it's the dark or like the like sharks in the ocean. Like everybody has something that they have a visceral reaction to in the fear spectrum.
And then this morning I woke up drenched, sweating. I don't know
Wow.
if it was just because it was hot out, but I mean the AC was on. It's not hot right now, and it was hotter. It was like 80 something degrees today. So
Might have been some dreams you were having last
Yeah,
night, man.
I'm just
that
saying,
you just don't remember.
yeah, I'm just saying it was like I even messaged him today. If anyone wants to know if I'm telling the truth, I messaged him today and was like, "Bro, you fucked me up. See, what did you do to me?" And he
Oh
was
my
like,
God,
"Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry."
Oh,
and then I had
jeez,
to listen to it while I edited it again today. It was terrible. But let's wrap it up. We don't need to hear about baby Ty. So
baby Ty.
So we
that
are
was a good
going.
show we did today.
Yeah.
feel.
So I am confirmed. I'm definitely going. I hope maybe you can work it out too. But I'm gonna go to Contact in the Desert on July 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. I really hope you can potentially make it.
Where is it?
Roswell.
It's going to be in Roswell. Shit, man.
Yeah.
Well, I might just have to take a drive out to the
Yeah.
desert, huh?
So it's going to be great. We get to meet. I mean, pretty much everyone in the UFO community that's someone will be there. You know, Dan.
A lot of
Zetterstrom
people
will
from
be there.
UFO Twitter attend. There's a girl on UFO Twitter. I forget her name. It's like Lady of something. She's real cool. She met Lou, but I think she went last year. So because I think she lives near it. So there's people that we may run into from like our Twitter feeds, which would just be like
That's why
the
I'm going.
coolest thing in the world, man. To
And that's
meet
why
the
I'm
people
going.
that talk to us every day. There's so many people that interact with you and me on Twitter, like Astral, all these really great individuals that we've now made connections with and have, like, honestly, man, you're my friend at
Oh,
this
hey,
point.
hey, sorry. It's
No,
June.
go ahead.
June, not July.
June.
That's a
Okay.
little close.
Well, man, you never know.
We'll try to work
We'll see
something
what
out.
happens.
We'll try to work something out. So, so the headliners are Graham Hancock, Avi Loeb, Linda Moulton Howe, and George Norrie from Coast to Coast.
Hey,
So,
George.
and then there's presentations by a shit ton of people. So,
That's really
it's
cool.
it's basically like the Woodstock of UFO conferences. So
It pretty much is, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's really cool though. And even if I don't get to go to this one, I know I'm going to get out to one of these things eventually.
well, you got to
So
come. I mean, you're going to go to Phenomicon, right? What is it called?
Phenomicon. Like, I have it in my mind that I'm going to that.
Yeah, Caleb
want you
said
to know
that
that.
we'll be able to. I mean, well, I'm gonna be able to. We're gonna be able to talk to like Brandon Fugel, Thomas Winterton. Hopefully, Travis Taylor will be there.
That would be really
So,
cool.
I mean, Caleb will introduce us to all of them, and then
And I've talked to Brandon on Twitter a couple times. Like, it was a random day, and he just like took the time to like, and he didn't even just like one of my comments. Like, he was like talking to me through comments.
Yeah, he's a
I'm
good
like,
guy on
wow.
Twitter. He's very, very
he's real cool. He
reactive.
seems a lot of people look at
I
him
like
like,
this
oh,
Trav
he's
Izzle.
super rich and blah blah blah. He seems like a nice guy.
I like this
Just 'cause you have
Travis
money.
guy.
Yeah, Trav Izzle in the chat. Yeah, he's
Yeah, I
chilling,
like this
man. He's
guy.
hanging out. He's hanging out.
Where is this? Phenomicon or Contact in the Desert is Roswell. Phenomicon is
Utah.
Where it's basically like the Skinwalker Ranch deal. So
It's in that area.
yeah, and we got it invited by Caleb to go out there and hang out. So I told Caleb I'll take him to dinner. And
yeah, man.
I'll wine and dine his ass, and then he can bring us on to Skinwalker Ranch and we can do some videos. So we got a lot more to do, guys, and that's why we want your support. And that's why we want you to become members so you can watch us record and you get all early access to our interviews. Our next interview is with Betty and Barney Hill's niece, Kathleen Martin, who is the founder of the ERT, which now Earl Anderson runs it. She is his mentor. Did I say that right? She is his mentor. So Kathleen Martin of the ERT and MUFON.
mentor.
Yeah. So she is our next interview. That'll be recording on April 17th. So if you become a member now, you'll be able to watch that early, as well as you get to check out Earl and all of the rest of our stuff all in one place on YouTube, and you get to support the channel. Tom, where can they find you so that they can keep the conversation going?
They can find me right here. No, I'm just kidding. So they can find me on Twitter. Obviously, that's where I'm most active. Besides YouTube, at Atomic Thomas, just change the O's to zeros. So it's AT0 MICTH 0 MAS. YouTube, Cortex Zero. I have a real cool video coming up soon that I'm working on that has to do with the potential evidence to suggest that Mars may have been nuked millions of years ago, but I kind of go real deep into that. I know a lot of people already know about Brandon Berg's work, Death on Mars and all that, but I even go into some of the deeper details about how big the bomb may have been and how many bombs there were. So I think it's definitely going to be worth checking out. And also, if you need to reach me or just want to have a chat, you can reach me, Tom at ZeroDigitalDesigns.com. That is my email.
Hell yeah. And like we said, so we're going to be doing this every Thursday at 8:30. Except there's one Thursday a month that I believe that we won't. One Thursday a month, we'll probably shift it to either Friday or we'll figure out something. Or maybe we'll just take that night off. So every
knows?
Thursday here at 8:30 Eastern, please join us. And then on Sundays, the podcast comes out. So definitely check that out. Like I said, you can watch it early if you become a member, or just wait till Sunday and you get to watch it for free. But you know what's free as well? Liking, sharing, and subscribing. That's all free. And if you want to help support the channel like that, I appreciate it. Also, on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, leave the show a rating and a review. A star rating and a written review really help with the algorithm. I love everybody. It was really fun getting to do like multi-channel tonight. So
Yeah,
maybe
I'm live on my
doing
channel
that.
right now. Shout out to everybody that popped up in the chat because it was just like unannounced out of nowhere. I was just experimenting with this feature that they added to StreamYard because technically this is Ty's channel. We're over here doing the show, but now that we can multicast it, like we're getting
do some
we're
weird,
getting
like,
multiple
mashup.
audiences and
We could do, like, a
both chats at
mash.
the same time. Dude, this is the way.
I think this is a cool. I think this is a really cool feature that we'll probably use. I messaged you and I was
great.
like, dude, I'm okay with it. Yeah.
Yeah,
let's
I think
go.
it's great. Like it brought in some new viewers. It pulls in people that have been watching me. Now they get to see your content. They'll subscribe to your channel, and we're just all gonna have a great time.
Yeah, why don't we do this every time? It seems
I
like
am
a no-brainer.
totally gonna do it. I'm
That
gonna
seems like a
just put out
no-brainer.
a little post on my channel, like, "Hey, we'll be live every Thursday." on
Yeah,
both
we're still
channels.
live on Love's channel as well. He's not even here.
Oh, that's great. Well,
That's so funny.
he's getting that viewer time, right? If
Yeah.
there's anybody over there, God knows. He doesn't really like. He's not a YouTuber, man. I feel like he just kind of does
He
it for
likes
fun, you know.
Yeah, he podcasts. He likes that.
Yeah, that's
He
his
likes
thing.
talking about it. But all right, guys, we'll see you next time.
Later.